Thanks everyone for joining us this evening. We're going to go ahead and get started with Kurt Heinisch. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. All right, Kurt, and your first question is from Tim Priester.
Hey, Kurt, I was wondering what it's been like in the stadium with about 12 to 15% of capacity. How different is that, or do you not notice it? And do you have to generate your own enthusiasm and motivation throughout the game? Or is that or does competition just naturally bring that out?
It doesn't really matter to me, to be honest with you. I don't really notice it that much. Honestly, the only time I do notice it is when I run out of the tunnel and it's not as loud and you don't see as many people. But that never really mattered to me or my teammates. We're just happy we're playing.
We'll go next to John Fineran. And John, I believe you're on mute.
Yeah, and I'll start again. Kurt, what do you remember from 2018 game against Pitt? And what does it mean to be going back home to play the Panthers?
It means the world to me to go back home and play Pitt. I grew up watching Pitt. I'm excited to play at Heinz Field for the fourth time. We played there in high school, so I played there before. I'm really excited to go home and play in front of my family and some friends. So this game means everything to me.
Our next question is from Pete Sampson.
Kurt, I was curious if you could just sort of put into words what growing up in Pittsburgh is like, how that has sort of informed, I guess the way you play. If there's something about that city or that town that, has kind of wired you to play football a certain way.
Yeah, a lot of the people from there are blue collar, hardworking people, and it's the kind of mindset that me and some of my teammates that are from Pittsburgh bring to this facility every day. It's like a bring your lunch pail to work type mentality every day. So we kind of carry that blue collar attitude on our sleeves, and that's just the way we go about our day.
The next question will be from Doug Farmer.
Kurt, very much following up on Pete there. Back in 2016, 2017, Brian Kelly always credited the Pittsburgh group of guys for holding that recruiting class together, and he would usually name you by name in that collection. What is it about being from Pittsburgh that helped you guys see the bigger picture as that 2016 season went badly for Notre Dame, or what was it about you that made you want to keep that group together?
We just had a special group of guys those years, and a lot of us came up on recruiting visits together. So it would have sucked if we lost some of our guys. But like you asked the question about the guys we have from Pittsburgh. I love those guys. I played against some of those guys in high school, and it's great we can be teammates now. But yeah.
We'll go next to Miles Garrett.
Hey, Kurt. The defense has really come through strong the last game and a half, second half against Florida State too. Coach Kelly mentioned specifically your third down defense has really, come in strong and is ranking pretty high nationally too. Is there anything in particular that goes on in the huddle, before those big money downs that you guys are just like clamping down and really getting the results, or is it coaching? Is there anything in particular that's going on there?
We talk about all the time, how hard we play is, how hard we play and the effort we put up on tape it shows how much you love the guy in the room next to you. So, in our room, in the defensive unit room, we talk about all the time, how much love we have for one another and who we do it for, we do it for each other. So we kind of just hold each other accountable, and what goes through our minds on that play is just making the big play and then turn around and celebrating with our teammates.
We'll go next to Matt Freeman.
Hey, Kurt, the NCAA granted an extra year of eligibility. Have you given that much thought about potentially returning next fall yet?
I don't know yet.
We'll go next to Jerry DiPaola.
Hi, Kurt. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm just wondering, Central Catholic guys have a large connection to Pitt and other places too. Do you talk to DeMar much? And does this game mean a little bit more to you because you've been playing against Patrician and Adamitis and those guys?
Yeah, of course. We were all really good friends in high school, and I'm good friends with DeMar and Paris Ford, and we actually went and played paintball with each other during quarantine, so we got to hang out with one another. But yeah, we played with each other in high school, and we were teammates. And it's fun. It's competition. It's friendly competition. But once we step in the field, we mean business. So
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Hey, Kurt, I'm curious from a defensive perspective, how important was that Louisville performance coming off of maybe a less than ideal performance against Florida State?
We showed up and played football. I wouldn't say that our performance against Florida State was less than ideal, but we showed up and played, and we had a great plan. It was simple and it was solid.
We will circle back with Jerry DiPaola.
Kurt, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned playing paintball with those guys. Who's a better paintball player, you, Paris, or DeMar?
I'll let you figure that question out.
And we'll also go to Tyler James.
Kurt, Coach Kelly said the other day that you've been playing through some injuries or banged up a little bit. How are you doing health-wise?
Oh, I'm great. Yeah, I feel fine. To be honest with you, there aren't any injuries that are going to hold me back, and I feel great.
And we'll do one last call for questions. If you do have a question for Kurt, please go ahead and raise your hands. And we will go back to Tyler James.
Kurt, you told us last year about having special workouts with Coach Bayless. Is that something you've been able to continue to do this year, despite the COVID precautions and stuff like that?
Yeah, I worked out with him this morning. Every Tuesday morning, we work out together.
We will go to Angelo Di Carlo.
Kurt, being that you know a lot of guys on Pitt's team, could you give us a little scouting report of their offense and what you feel the challenges they bring?
Yeah, I mean they have a talented group of offensive linemen that are very cohesive and they work together. They have a great secondary with some of my friends being in there. They have a good defensive front, and they're a good team all around. That's going to be it from me. There's other guys here that have to answer questions, so that's going to be it for me.
All right, we will end with that. PR professional in the making. We'll go ahead and continue with Avery Davis. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. And we will go ahead and begin with Patrick Engel.
Hey, Avery, obviously you've moved around positions a lot throughout your career here, but would you say right now that this is kind of the one where you feel most comfortable and have you enjoyed getting to contribute the most at?
Yeah, I feel like, definitely. I think I feel the most comfortable where I'm at right now.
We'll go next to Tim Priester.
Avery, I'm asking all the guys this today. What's it been like in the stadium at well less than capacity? How different is it for you? Do you have to generate your own motivation in absence of a full house, or is the competition enough to bring that out in you?
I think the competition is definitely enough to bring it out. We're very competitive guys, and we work hard for to be able to go out there and play on Saturdays. So it's definitely different though, because one of the reasons we come here is because it's sold out every game. So it's different in that sense. But once the whistle blows, all we're worried about is competing.
Our next question will be from Caroline Pinedo.
Hey, Avery, you've changed positions and played all over in your time here, as someone else already alluded to. But this year, that type of flexibility is being asked of more guys than normal. How have you used that past experience to help and provide guidance to teammates that may not be as used to doing that?
Just whenever, I know that transitions can be tough, especially in the sport. I don't think people realize how demanding and how different it is seeing the game from so many different perspectives. So I just try to tell them to really keep their heads up. Like, you're gonna have days where you're gonna struggle. Everything's not gonna just click overnight. So it's a process, and just take each day as a new day. So that's pretty much it.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Avery, how do you feel like the wide receiver position has sort of responded to not exactly having a ton of production this year and a lot of bodies rotating in and out there? How have you guys handled that, and what's the key to making sure you guys are locked in and all moving in the right direction moving forward?
We're just optimistic, and we're grateful for every opportunity that we get. We realize that we have a really, really, really good offensive line. We have really good backs. So, and we got a really good receiver core too. So we're confident, and whenever our opportunities come, we're gonna capitalize on them.
We'll go next to Miles Garrett.
Hey, Avery. Obviously not the offensive output that you guys wanted to get Louisville. Pittsburgh got a pretty good defense coming in. What are you guys trying to do to mix it up and maybe and get a better offensive output, you know, something similar to that you guys maybe have had against Duke and Florida State?
We're just gonna prepare this week, have a solid couple of days of practice, and we're gonna go out there and compete. We're not worried about what happened last week, and we're confident. We're gonna stick to our process, and we're gonna go out there and have a good game.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Avery, this is a little off topic, but I'm assuming at some point in practice for the last couple of years, you've been hit by Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah. Could you explain why he is able to hit as hard as he is, and just sort of what kind of challenge he presents to receivers, running backs, skill position players?
I cannot explain to you why he hits as hard as he hits, but I just know the passion he has for the game just translates in his play, and I think everybody can see that every Saturday that we do play. And the challenge that he brings, I know from competing against him every day, the kid's it's freaky. He's a freak athlete. Like he looks deceptively not that strong, but he's like a tree trunk. Like you can't move him. He's very powerful. He's fast. So he's just the ultimate weapon on defense. He can guard you in the slot. He can guard you. He can stop the run, and he can fill gaps. So like I don't know, the dude's he's special. He's different.
We'll go next to Angelo Di Carlo.
Avery, you know, it's October 20th and you guys haven't played a road game yet. How strange is that? And what do you think this weekend will be like, especially with, you know, all the protocols being in place of how different it might feel being on the road versus previous seasons?
It's definitely gonna be different, but I mean, I think we can all attest that this whole year has been really weird and different. So we've been prepared for that coming into the season. We've faced adversity, and I don't think it's gonna be too much of a challenge.
We'll go next to Patrick Engel.
Hey, Avery, coming into this season, you guys had some injuries or bumps and bruises, whatnot, and it seemed like it kind of gave you even more of an opportunity to start. How did you look at that as a chance to really establish a role early and a chance to produce?
Just preparing off season, working hard, and when preparation meets opportunity, capitalizing on the opportunity. That's really it. I didn't look at it as, since people were hurt, it's my time to shine, nothing like that. I just wanted to treat every day like a new day, and go to work every day, and don't let bad days carry over. And I'm here where I'm at now.
We'll go to Tyler James next.
Avery, with it being such a strange year and position groups can kind of get wiped out with COVID stuff, have you taken any reps in practice at quarterback or done anything to prepare yourself in case of emergency you'd have to play quarterback?
No, I haven't taken any reps, but I'm always prepared. That was the thing I grew up playing. I love the position, so I'll always be prepared if that ever was to happen.
We'll do one last call for questions for Avery. All right, and we will go to Patrick Engel.
Hey, Avery, kind of piggybacking off of that for a second. Was it initially hard to move off of QB, considering all the extra work and fine points and all the things I'm sure you did in high school to get to that level of quarterback you were coming out of high school?
Definitely, 100%.
All right, and we will wrap it up there. Thanks so much, Avery.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and continue with Shane Simon. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. And we will begin with John Finneran.
Hey, Shane, being from New Jersey, I wonder if there was any interest with Pitt and you, and talk a little bit about that, if you would.
It definitely close by. Like Pittsburgh's right, like the state over. So when they offered, it was definitely like a possibility, but I didn't really look into it too much.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Hey, Shane, how would you sort of evaluate your play so far at the buck linebacker position, and what do you feel like you want to improve upon?
There's definitely been a lot of growth, but plenty more to do. Hasn't been perfect. I think first and foremost, I want to just improve my technique and fundamentals and continue to just make more plays. That's the goal, that's the plan, and that's hopefully I can continue to do so and get better and better for my defense.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Shane, kind of a two-parter. When did you start feeling back to your normal self where you could really compete after the injury? And I know when we talked to you a year ago this spring, you had played 3 positions that spring and kind of went into camp doing the same. How did you settle into buck, and why did that suit you the best?
The first part, I guess I would say I really can't. I mean, I've been able to do a lot of the movement stuff for a while over the summer, and especially because of quarantine, it was kind of tough getting back into the fold. But definitely by the time camp hit, I was able to move fully how I wanted to. And in the buck position, like I was able to grow last year. And when camp came, I was just trying to put my head forward and focus on what I had to do and become the better player or the best player I can be at the point in time I am right now.
We'll go next to Lou Samoji.
Just kind of following up on that, Shane, when you originally had that patella injury, I mean, that's considered one of the more serious ones. Were you going to miss the spring as it was? And how long was that recovery and process?
Yeah, I was going to miss the spring. The timeline was anywhere from like 6 to 9 or not. I wasn't fully sure what the timeline was. I was just trying to get better and better each day. And so, I was definitely going to miss the spring, but right after then I'll be right back into the fold. So because of quarantine, I was able to get back a little bit faster than I thought I was going to be, and continue to get better and better, and got to where I am now.
We'll go next to Caroline Pineda.
Yeah, hey Shane, you played with the DiPaola twins in high school and obviously here as well. Now that you're all juniors, what's it been like to still get to play with them and grow into bigger teams in this program together?
That was fun. I mean, we've had a bond for a while now, and we're all still close friends. And seeing them out there every day and playing behind them and watching them grow as well has been amazing. So it's just a dream that we all thought about, and we're hoping to continue to improve on it and just get better and better.
We'll go next to Tim Priester.
Shane, is there anything that stood out to you in the 4 home games? You have well less than capacity crowds there. Do you have to generate your own enthusiasm, or what's that whole experience been like with about 15% of capacity?
I mean, it's definitely different. I mean, my first game ever in Notre Dame Stadium was Michigan in 2018, and so I saw a packed crowd and fully sold out, and everybody's super hyped up and super energized. But I mean, it is what it is now. COVID, everybody's being affected by COVID, and so obviously you have to generate your own energy, and the love of the game takes over. So we all love to play, we all love to make plays, and you always want to put our best efforts forward for that reason.
We'll go next to Miles Garrett.
Hey, Shane, playing a pit team with an offense, do a lot of, those quick type throws, as a linebacker. How do you prepare for that kind of offense? And is there anything that you guys are focusing on this week to prepare for that, really?
They bring a lot of different things to the table. They align various formations, and we have to make sure we're staying on our P's and Q's. As a linebacker, definitely have to make sure that we're able to communicate and get the defense in the right calls and make sure that we're all lined up to play as one unit. And as long as we're able to do that, we have the best chance to be successful on Saturday.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Shane, how challenging is it to play the linebacker position when you've gone in and out of the lineup for availability issues and then just working in a rotation? Is it something that it feels like to get better, you just need those game reps and to adjust to the game speed to make the developments you want to see in your game?
It definitely helps. The game reps definitely help you build that confidence and generate that the action that you need in order to get better and better. But it is what it is. We all working to get the best, and Coach Lee's trying to put the best 11 players on the field, and so we're all trying to contribute to that and continue to raise our games to that point and help our team win games.
We'll go next to Angelo Di Carlo.
Shane, is it strange going on the road for the first time in mid-October, and how do you feel how unique it'll be, especially this year with all the protocols that are being placed compared to usual road trip?
It'll definitely be different, but I kind of love road trips. I never got to play at Heinz Field before, so I'm excited to play there. And so as long as the excitement's there, as long as we're all ready to play, there's nothing going to be different. We're all going to be amped up and ready to go put our best effort forward.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Shane, you were asked a little bit earlier about sort of, getting the reps and getting the feel for the game. Are there examples this season where you look back and be like, all right, now that I've seen that, I won't get fooled on that again? Like, whether it be like the wheel route to Hawkins or something that you're chasing down in the third quarter. Like, are there a couple examples that you could point out, be like, yeah, that's I had to learn that the hard way and I'll be better for it moving forward?
Definitely. There's always room for improvement, and as you can see, as you pointed out, there's always plays I wish I had back. But looking at the film and watching it and talking to Coach Lee and everybody like that, so we've all been aware of our mistakes and what we've done, and so hoping to look to improve on that and continue to get better and better.
All right, and with that, we will wrap it up. Thanks very much, Shane. All right, and we will go ahead and continue with Aaron Banks. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. We will start off with Matt Freeman.
Hey, Aaron, you guys were really good in the red zone last year. I guess how close do you feel that you are to regaining that form from a year ago?
I think it's a development. Being good in the red zone is a strength that not a lot of teams have, and I think we're doing a good job of working at that. I think it's just executing a little bit more, like training a little bit harder when to play here and there. And we're busting things open and getting the end zone more.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Aaron, I realize it's a ways away, but what are your plans for next season, whether it be a fifth year here or potentially just moving on from Notre Dame after graduation?
We're just focused on Pitt right now.
We'll go next to Patrick Engel.
Hey, Aaron, how cool was it, or I guess how much extra pride do you as a lineman and you guys as a line take in being able to get the ball with 8 minutes left and run down a team's throat so they don't even get the ball back again?
I think that's just the strength of our offensive coordinator calling the right plays. He calls the plays, we execute them, and he did a great job of, calling plays that'll eat the clock up and help us move the ball. So shout out.
We'll go next to Carter Carls.
Aaron, I'm going to butcher his name here, but I talked to Coach Rincon, your DC at your high school, and he was telling me that you had a unique experience, that there wasn't a lot of weights at your high school, that there was like maybe one bench press, one squat rack, and that you guys did a lot of conditioning, but not a lot of strength training. I think you got your own trainer and everything as well. What do you just remember about that experience, and how big of a focus was it when you got to Notre Dame, just gaining strength?
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of weights. So myself and my little brother would go before school at like 4:30 in the morning and go lift weights before school because there wasn't time after school and there's not many weights. So we would go early in the morning and lift and then go to school and then go to practice. So that was our schedule. We went to 24-hour fitness like really early in the morning. We went like 4 days out of the week, depending on like if we're in season, off season. And then towards the end of my high school career, I started to work out with a trainer, Marcus Maui. So Najee Harris worked out there too, and we would go over there and lift a lot. So.
All right, and we will go next to Tim Priester.
Aaron, I know offensive linemen are kind of in their own little element and world, but I just wonder what it's been like going into a mostly empty stadium, and just your reactions to being in an environment that's pretty foreign to what you've experienced at Notre Dame.
You kind of just got to bring your own juice. We try to bring energy with our play, and the sideline gets going, and it's a little quiet here and there. It's something that we're not used to, especially in our own stadium, where we're used to it being really loud. But we've just done a great job with the guys on the sideline of, getting really excited when we make plays and just kind of staying in the play and not really worrying about that because it's kind of an exterior factor.
We'll go next to John Finneran.
Aaron, I wonder if you could reflect back to 2018 and what you have seen of Pitt and why are they so difficult to run the football against?
I think I played like 2 drives in that game. But they have good players, they're really strong up front. They do a lot of things with their blitzes and movement that make it hard for teams to move the ball. I think that we have a really good scheme for them this week, and we just want to go out and dominate every single play.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Aaron, what is it that allows you to kind of kick out there to fill in for Liam at left tackle? We've seen you practice that, of course, in snippets back in August camps when you were younger, but what about your skill set allows you to do that? And is that something that 2 months from now, when you have a decision to make about the NFL or Notre Dame, where you can see yourself playing left tackle at the college level too?
I think having, a childhood and going through high school and playing a lot of basketball helped me to have pretty good feet. It's like they call me the dancing bear amongst the O-line. And I think that, just having the background of basketball helps me with my versatility along the offensive line. Plus, like going from left guard to left tackle wasn't too much of a difference. Like I think switching sides would be a little different, but or a little more difficult. But as far as just bumping out, like we work on playing guard and tackle throughout camp and throughout the year. For instances like that, where somebody goes down, you gotta move guys around. So, yeah.
We will go next to Lou Samoji.
Hey, Aaron, your freshman year, this was a really running identity team, 270 yards a game with Quentin Nelson and Mike McGlinchey. And last 2 years, not so much. What changed in the spring? Was it the experience of coming back? Was it the new running backs you had? And just I was wondering what it was like to apprentice behind Quentin Nelson as well.
Coach Reese does a really good job scheming up runs for us so that we can, dominate the team that's in front of us. So I think that's a huge part of it. He does a really good job with his schemes. And I think we have a lot of experience across all 5 positions. And I think it allows us to dominate the teams in front of us and play as one.
We'll go next to Doug Farmer.
Aaron, I have a more serious question, and I'm hoping Claire will let me hang around and ask, but I think somebody needs to follow up. Did you say your nickname is the Dancing Bear? And what's the background on that?
Yeah. So 2 years ago, I was playing right tackle behind Robert Hainsey. And that was kind of when I was starting to figure it out and play better. And Chip Long started to call me the Dancing Bear. He loved that nickname, and that's what he would call me. He called me that the whole season. And it just kind of stuck.
On a more serious note, speaking of Chip Long, thinking back to when you committed to Notre Dame, he wasn't around yet, but the 2 months between your commitment and signing, he was. In those 2 months, coming off a 4-8 season, who did you hear from most, be it a recruit, a player, an assistant coach? Who was it that you checked in with most?
Harry Easton.
We will go next to Miles Garrett.
Hey, Aaron, sort of piggybacking off an earlier question, that last drive where you guys held on to the ball for so long and effectively ended the game. Does that kind of drive give you guys some momentum going into Pittsburgh, after, the offense just didn't score a lot of points and, you guys were efficient for most of the game, just weren't really able to finish the drives. Does that give you guys a little bit more momentum going into Pittsburgh?
Yes, I guess. I don't really know how to answer that. Yeah, I mean, we ran the ball really well at the end of that game. I think it's a good thing to end with to kickstart us into the next game. But I'm trying to leave that in the past and really focus on Pitt.
We have time for one more, so we'll go to Angelo Di Carlo.
Aaron, you mentioned going up against that Pitt defense. I'm curious if, Coach Kelly called them tough and rugged. Is this a game as an offensive line you guys kind of look forward to, a battle in the trenches?
Yeah, they're a pretty face tough defense, gritty guys. I think that they're kind of similar to our defense in the fact that they just play really hard. So I think it'll be a good test for us. And yeah, I think it'll be a good test for us to come out and play very physical. It's going to be a hard game. It's going to be a fist fight. So, yeah.
All right, and we will wrap it up there. Thanks very much, Aaron.
No problem.
We will go ahead and continue with Robert Hainsey. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. We will start it off with Tim Prister.
I think everybody's going to know what I'm going to ask you here, Rob. Before the season started, you said you didn't care if anybody was in the stadium. You just wanted to play with all the uncertainty with COVID. I just wonder what the experience has been like with 4 straight games at home. Is it harder without the motivation provided by the crowd, or are you guys as an offensive line just capable of locking in and not worrying about that kind of stuff?
No, I don't think it makes a huge difference. It's been nice actually with the fans we've had. The students have been great, and like the band, our family. So you really don't notice a whole lot of a difference while on the field. They're kind of locked in, and I mean we score, the fans cheer, the band plays. It only just looks a little bit different, but you're not really stopping them over game to look around, so it's not too bad.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Rob, I was curious, the finance major, like what drew you to that, what that academic path has been like at Notre Dame, and beyond football, where you want to take it.
Yeah, good question. I think finance just caught my eye because I thought it was interesting. I figured it would be a pretty competitive field, and I thought that would be something I would enjoy doing. I've kind of gone from not knowing a whole lot about it to learning a good bit about it, and some of my friends have taught me a whole lot, and my professors have been awesome in the finance classes in the Mendoza College of Business. So I think that it's something that's really I've enjoyed, and I've met some pretty cool people outside of the school right now through the connections you make at Notre Dame. So I don't really know what I want to do when I get to that point, but I know I'll have options, and I know I'll find something that I enjoy in that field.
We'll go next to George Bashura.
Hey, Robert. Coach talks a lot about the aspects of offense, defense, and special teams all executing. The other aspect that he talks about a lot is the mental aspect. How hard has it been to stop, start, stop, and now restart amongst all this other activity?
You mean like when we stopped for the Wake Forest game, kind of?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult just because you don't at the time you don't really know what's going to happen. But for me personally, I know I talked about this a couple months ago whenever we all did this before the season. I was just like talked about how excited I was to like have practice and be able to play football, being hurt after COVID, all that stuff. And so then that happens, and I'm like, this could stop whenever. So it gives you that re-energized boost of I'm excited to play football. I can't wait to get out there with the guys. So it's a little difficult to stay locked in and not know exactly what's going to happen each day, but I'm pretty happy with the feeling I have of getting excited and the team getting excited to play football together.
We'll go next to Doug Farmer.
Robert, thinking all the way back to 2016, you were a pretty early recruit, and Brian Kelly always credited the Pittsburgh guys for keeping that group of commitments together throughout the 4-8 season and whatever may have ensued in the background. What do you remember, or what about the Pittsburgh group made it so you guys were the nucleus of that recruiting class?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we had a good class, and we were all really close, and I think we were all just excited to get here and play for a team and a program that's so special and has so much great history behind it. Everyone in the class that's still around, we're all very close, and we're all really happy to be together. So I think it's just the type of guys you get when you get Notre Dame commits. You get guys who are committed to the school, to the program, to the people, and that's just the kind of guys we have.
We'll go next to Bryan Driskell.
Yeah, Robert, obviously Coach Quinn's doing a great job with you guys, but I just was also curious what kind of impact Chris Watt has had working along with Coach Quinn this year.
Yeah, I mean, Watt's been great. I really enjoy working with him. I think we all do because he's a great offensive line mind. He's played at Notre Dame. He played with Zach Martin and Nick Martin and those guys. When we were freshmen, like those guys would come back, and those who we were learning from. I look up to Chris a great deal, as I know everyone on the offensive line does. And you think about the guys who came through this room; those are the guys that led the way for what we're doing now. So having him back in the room with us has been it's been awesome, and it's been really special to be able to learn from him and just pick his brain on all different kinds of things regarding offensive line play and technique. So I think it's been a huge asset for us.
We'll go next to Carter Carls.
Robert, we just talked to Aaron Banks, and he said that Chip Long gave him the nickname Dancing Bear a couple of years ago. Just how have you seen him? How have you seen him grow since then? And just what do you think he brings to the offensive line?
Banks is a great player. I love watching Banks play because I know every time he goes out there, he's gonna go out there with everything he has. So that's what he brings. He brings just tenacity, and he's obviously a massive, massive human. So he just can't be stopped when he's in his zone. I've seen, and I think as far as growth, I mean, like, it's awesome to like watch all of each other. I think we all help each other a great deal in improving and preparing for each game. So like, we've been doing it a couple years now, but like you see how everyone is getting better and better, and like Banks is the same way. So it's really fun to watch like your best friends like get better at what they love doing alongside of you.
We'll go next to Jerry DiPaola.
Hi, Robert. You've probably been asked this question a million times. I'll make it 1,000,001. How difficult was it to leave Gateway after your sophomore year? And how do you think going to IMG, changed your career path?
Good question. I think I always say that's the second best decision I ever made coming to Notre Dame. It wasn't that hard. I won't lie to you. I mean, Gateway was a good school, a good program, but it didn't have what I thought I needed to be as successful as I wanted to be. So IMG called, and I was like, yeah, let's go check it out with my parents. We did it, and they didn't. Not once did they tell me you should do this or shouldn't do this. And as a 16-year-old, that's a big decision to make. But I just thought that if I wanted to do everything that I felt I wanted to do and be this player that I wanted to be, it was the right decision to make. And I decided to move 18 hours away and didn't really look back. I met a lot of great people who did the same thing, so we all bonded over that. And looking back, I wouldn't change a single thing. I think, like I said, it's the second best decision I've ever made behind coming to Notre Dame.
We'll go next to Lou Emoji.
Robert, your freshman year when you were co-starter, you guys won the Joe Moore Award as the nation's top offensive line, and you guys are certainly being talked about quite a bit for that as well. You had 114 career starts coming back there. Did the line, like in the preseason, or I know with the quarantine there wasn't much opportunity, but did the line discuss with the coaches that, look, put it on us and let us lead the way, and with the running game and the physicality?
No, I don't think that's really that's not really our place, honestly. Our coaches on the offensive side and Coach Kelly have a great plan for us. I mean, they're going to put us in the best position that they can to win. So for us, we have the utmost trust in Coach Quinn and Coach Reese, Coach Taylor, Coach McNulty, Coach Alexander, Coach Kelly. It takes everyone, honestly. It takes every single person involved with the offensive side of the ball. So we trust that they're going to put us in the position to win. And if that's running the ball 40 times a game, that's what it is. If that's passing the ball 50 times a game, that's what it is. We're going to execute to the best of our ability, no matter what play is called. And I know that Coach Reese is going to put us in the position to win.
We will wrap it up this evening with Tim O'Malley.
Rob, about 4 months ago, you did not have a decision to make at season's end. You were going to be moving on to the NFL, a chance at the NFL. Now, at this oddity, you kind of do have a decision to make. Is being a 5-year starter at Notre Dame something that could appeal to you, or are you, I mean, is it time to take a chance at the NFL with what your experience? So how do you kind of look at that as a unique situation not many guys have ever faced?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting situation for everyone. And I guess, that's a bridge we cross when we get to it.
All right, and we will end it there. Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.